What do you miss about being like a bit younger and playing in a band? Do you still like? Did you party back then, and did you stop it, or do you still have like crazy after show parties?
We still have crazy after show parties. Well, especially in Finland, I believe. First time we came here, we were so wasted because we've had like it was province rock, and I think it was in the mid of midsummer. It was midsummer, and it didn't get dark, you know, and it was the first time that we ever experienced that. And I remember we were already quite drunk, and I asked our lighting engineer, and I said, look, it has to become dark at some point. He said, well, you know, it's already getting light again, you know, it's already getting becoming day again. And we were wasted every time that we came to Finland, but we really loved it. And we have the lakes, and I remember we even drove after one festival. We drove by a lake, we stopped by a lake, and everybody went swimming. And so it's fantastic. You have fantastic festivals up here, and I think we appreciate a lot of things more than we could back then, because we were young and we were like really. There were so many influences. I sometimes compare it to like if you have a downhill race on a bike, and it's like you're going downhill and you actually have to concentrate on that, and then there's people like trying to bring you things, you know. It's like, oh, okay, I take this and I take that, and oh, I missed that, and it's life in the fast lane. It still is, but now we have also the priorities on our families and on our private life. That's what we learned from the long break, and that was a very healing process.
Do you think it would be okay to you if your children wanted to be musicians or start a band?
Definitely. I would support that from day one on.
And then they would be in Finland drunk, and you'd have to call them another.
That way. You know, I think I would never miss. I would never. Yes, it has been great experiences. We've been traveling a lot. We've been meeting lots of people, and we've had lots of influences. And then if my kids would try and do that, I would support them definitely.
They would have a really good like support system from you guys, because you could tell them what to do. What would you tell to a young kid who was going to start a band? What should they do, right or wrong?
I would tell them, try to be yourself, you know, try to be authentic, try to be good in what you're doing, and try to present that, and try to be humble to what you achieve, and to what people are giving to you, because it's like of course you can be a great artist, but if there's no one interested in what you're doing, you're either doing it for yourself or you're doing something wrong. Yeah. So I think what we learn is like we really appreciate all the success that we had, but we know where we come from and we know where the success comes from, and it's not about selling albums or doing the big after show parties or doing the platinum award shows and doing the Echo Awards or doing big music videos. It's a lot of hard work, and if you're not prepared for that, and if you are not able to, as a group, to talk about your priorities and to talk where you want to go, and if you're not sure about if you can manage that together, you have a problem. Yeah. And that's the reason why we split up, because we were not able at that point to kind of speak with one language and to go out and talk to the surrounding teams that we had that were supporting us. We would just like fade away, you know. Nobody was really able to work with us because the band was not existing anymore, and that was and we were losing the fun of what we were doing. So I think if you're doing music, if you're doing some kind of artistry and creative process, of course you need to be yourself, and you need to gain some fun out of that to be able to keep up with it.
Yeah, now the fun is back.
The fun is back, and better than ever. It's like we're getting along with each other better than ever. We've had lots of time to finally start and lead a private life. I think it kind of changed our priorities in the way that when we started, we were 18, 19, and everything was like music. Yeah. But now with the downhill race, you know, we know how and when to take the brakes, and just stop and then just put the bike aside and say, look, I gotta need some time to recover, and then I can do the downhill race again. And I think that if that's what we learned from that painful but also healing process, then it's a lot.
Yeah, that's true. Have you talked about how far into the future what you're gonna do after this?
No, well, we only decided in the end of 2009 when we did after the first festival season, we only then decided to do an album. Yeah. And I think it was really crucial for us because we kind of wanted to take out the pressure from ourselves and from everybody outside. So we kind of wrote half of the record. We've written, and then we only started talking to managements and record companies because we didn't want them to like knock on our doors and say, okay, how far are you? Is it like we need to set the release date, and then kind of stressed out. But you don't need that if you want to be creative and you want to kind of reinvent yourself. So we just did what we wanted to do, and then handed it over to the people who are working now on it. And I think we will try to, of course, make plans for the future, but we try to keep it open, try to keep it fun for ourselves.
Well, that's good. We can now do some like a bit lighter stuff, fun stuff. I'll give you some
fun until now.
Yeah, this is boring. We have to do something funny. No, I mean we don't have to talk about that old stuff anymore. How the albums were made and all that. I just thought we'd go for something funnier.
Whatever you want.
Yes. I'll be asking you to finish some sentences. Mm-hmm. First one is I would never.
I would never. I think I'm supposed to give fast answers, am I?
It doesn't matter, we have time.
I would never suggest to my kids to take drugs to be creative.
That's good. Last year I was...
Last year I was... oh my God.
I thought this would be like
I
easy.
Thought it was easy, yes. It's like so many things are coming into my mind. Last year I was looking forward to this year.
I was very happy when...
I was very happy when we did our first rehearsal again. We were all really excited about that and a little bit anxious. But at some point we just started rolling on the floor laughing about the old songs and about the way we played them and how bad we played them and how hard it was to learn them again. And then on the other hand, you play a song and you look down at your hands and the hands snap in place automatically and you realize, okay, there's something magical that we have with this four-piece band, and we've been doing this for quite a long time, and it's just like the body remembers what it should be doing. That's great for you.
Yeah, that's awesome. When I was 18,
When I was 18, I was in a band that was just starting to get a lot of attention, and I think I was excited, but I was also like confused about all the things that were happening at that time, and but I was really happy that I was able to do what I wanted to do and not what people expected me to do.
When I look in the mirror.
When I look in the mirror, I see a man that has become older, that has had more hair back then, when I see the old pictures, and I realized that it's about time to go back on stage and work out a little bit.
Then the last one, when I woke up this morning.
When I woke up this morning, I realized that I'm ill.
That's it. What are you expecting from tonight? Do you remember how the Finnish fans are as an audience?
Well, kind of. I remember the Finnish fans like partying and like partying for themselves as well. Like, I remember the party still goes on and goes on after the band already has left the stage. But I remember there were lots of really energetic shows in Finland, and we always love to come here. So it's a little bit, of course, we're talking about like the old era, and we're talking about a thing that is 8 years ago. And usually or sometimes in the band, we're trying to remember each other, to remind each other of different places. And then we're like, I remember the Tavastia in Helsinki. Yeah, I remember it was like this kind kind of small room, you know, and with that, of course, we all remember the small backstage, which is like just like this floor, and like this hallway, and yeah, it's kind of. I think it's kind of
weird. It's a legendary place.
Yeah, we are kind of reliving a little bit of our own history, and I think now that this downhill race has somehow stopped, everybody has more time to kind of remember that, and we throw in different things. It's like, you remember this, you remember that, and it kind of puts back together this puzzle piece of what was our first period in with the band, and it's kind of funny. It feels strange sometimes to me because it's like it's old school, and it's like the old memories of like maybe I compare it to like a former life, you know. It's like sometimes you get the déjà vu. It's like, ooh, I've been here before, and I know how this place felt, and I know what it was, but it's still very new for us with all the new songs and with the new approach that we have to the band.
Well, you're kind of living like a rock and roll memory lane or something right now. So enjoy your gig in Finland. Welcome back. Nice to see you.
Thanks very much.